Welcome back, everyone. Let's go ahead and do a comparison between the iPhone 8 Plus and the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 8 on iOS 15. I think these are both on iOS 15. There we go, and we're on iOS 15 here. Now, both these phones are great, as most of you may know. I mean, these are legendary phones in their own sense. They're beautiful. They have a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of differences as well. So if you want to pick up either one of these things, the links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can actually tell that both devices look pretty good. I actually don't have a problem with either one of these. They both are almost identically the same, except for the fact that the iPhone 8 Plus has a much bigger display and a much bigger phone than the iPhone 8. The iPhone 8 Plus has that. The iPhone 8 Plus has that 5.5-inch panel on it. It's an IPS panel, and overall, it looks good. I have very few issues with it. I never really had too many complaints about this panel. My only problem is with the bezel around it. It does have quite a bit of bezel, and that's probably the number one complaint of the iPhone 8 Plus, especially now in 2021. Now, the iPhone 8, on the other hand, is a smaller panel, 4.8-inch or 4.7-inch panel. It is a little bit, it's a 750p panel, so it's not as high as the resolution as the iPhone 8 Plus. But it's still a very good panel for the most part. For the price tag and for what it is now, I would not pick up this phone over something like an iPhone 8 Plus panel. But I think if you have to pick up a device and it's either between these two, I think it's an okay pickup for both of these. But the iPhone 8 Plus is probably the better panel for sure. Now on the side, you can see both of them are pretty much the same exact thickness as we've seen before. The iPhone 8 Plus, being a little bit bigger, but they don't feel almost the same thickness, to be honest. On the back, glass backs on both, and both of these are shattered, in my opinion. It looks like my iPhone 8 one is chipping actually right here, but if you get them brand new, there's probably not going to be any issues on the back of theirs. Single camera setup on the iPhone 8, dual camera setup on the iPhone 8 Plus, charging ports on the bottom, and that's really pretty much the main difference there. Now, there is a slight difference when it comes down to the battery life, so you are getting a bigger size battery on the iPhone 8 Plus than you are getting on the iPhone 8. Is that a worthwhile, breathtaking achievement? No, but you will notice those type of differences with the iPhone 8 Plus. You are probably going to end up getting so much better battery life on the iPhone 8 Plus than the iPhone 8. My iPhone 8 never gave me good battery life, whether it's on iOS 15 or iOS 14 or 13. It was never really that good, even when it first came out. The iPhone 8 Plus, on the other hand, was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but it's pretty good. I think the iPhone 11s, the iPhone 12s definitely have better battery life, but the iPhone 8 Plus is definitely better than the iPhone 8s for sure. So in terms of a battery life standpoint, that covers it up there. And software standpoint, both of these things are going to be ending off around the same time. So they're not going to be like 1 day or 1 year new or anything like that. They're both going to be pretty much lasting the exact same time when it comes down to both of these. So in terms of that covers it up there. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between these two. They both have the Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it, but the iPhone 8 Plus does have 3 gigs of RAM. The iPhone 8 has 2 gigs of RAM. So it's a pretty big thing to keep in mind between these two. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between these. Okay, now that we're back, all the apps are cleared out in the background, as you guys can see, except for this one. Now let's get into it. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. The iPhone 8 Plus looked to be that much faster than the iPhone 8. Music, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 8 looked to be faster there. The iPhone 8 Plus. Now this is a weird app because they always have different pop-ups. App Store, 3, 2, 1. And I forgot to click it on the iPhone 8 Plus. So we'll just kind of let this one load up. And crazy enough, the iPhone 8 Plus was actually able to load up faster than the iPhone 8, even though I clicked it after. That literally doesn't make any sense to me. That's so crazy. Swiping through, you can see that I think the iPhone 8 Plus seems to be a little smoother. But how does that make any sense? That does not make any sense to me. They both have the same chipset, so that theoretically should not have happened. Photos, 3, 2, 1. And iPhone 8 Plus a little bit faster there. Clicking on this one. Let's do clock, 3, 2, 1. And a little bit of a glitch on the iPhone 8 to look like as well. Let's get into weather, 3, 2, 1. Okay, hopping out of this one. Let's do news, 3, 2, 1. And I guess the iPhone 8 Plus may have been a little bit faster there. Swiping over, we do have a bunch of these third-party apps we can go and get into. So let's get into it. Let's do 4 and 2, 3, 2, 1. And it probably will look like the 8 Plus may actually end up winning. Now, we did get into these pop-ups. That's very annoying. Even then, actually, they almost loaded up almost the same exact time, which I'm kind of surprised about. But we did have the pop-up on the iPhone 8, which is very annoying. Hopping out of this one, let's get into the next one, which is BOFA, 3, 2, 1. And it seems like there's a little glitch whenever you click on it on the iPhone 8. It's not an everyday thing, but it just seems like every single time I click on it, it's a little bit slower on the iPhone 8, which is weird because they have the same chipset. Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. 8 Plus is faster. iPhone 8 much slower. Let's do Dropbox 3, 2, 1. Again, iPhone 8 Plus is just dominating this phone, which is so crazy. Let's get into Netflix 3, 2, 1. 8 Plus is faster. 8 is a little bit slower. Hopping out of this one. Let's get into Snake versus Blocks 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 8 Plus is still faster. I thought the iPhone 8 was going to win for a second, but the 8 Plus is still the faster one there. Hopping out of this one, let's get into Fruit Ninja 3, 2, 1. And the 8 Plus definitely looked to be a little bit faster there. I mean, we got into this pop-up here, which is very annoying. So let's just hop out of this one again. Now let's get into Facebook 3, 2, 1. 8 Plus again is faster. iPhone 8, I mean, iOS 15 must have taken a really big toll on the iPhone 8 for it to be acting like this, because it usually isn't this much slower. Stack 3, 2, 1, especially when both of these phones are on the same exact version of software, and on top of that, they have the same exact chipset within them too. And that type of stuff should not be happening with an iPhone of all devices, to be honest. Let's go and end it off with something like the original Temple Run, which I don't even think I have here. I do 3, 2, 1. And that's just crazy. I mean, it's just weird to me that most of the time the iPhone 8 was actually the slower one when it came down to it almost every single time. Now, it doesn't make any sense to me even more so because the iPhone 8 has the same chipset as the iPhone 8 Plus. I would understand in a RAM management portion if the iPhone 8 doesn't do as well because this one has more RAM than this one. It's funny because it looks like this one restarted now. I couldn't tell. Maybe it was just loading it up in the background because we didn't let it open up fully on the last time. But it just looks like both of them RAM-wise are about the same. We have a couple of apps open too, which is pretty interesting. Hopping into the next one, let's get into clock. So I can definitely tell you in terms of speed, massive difference. The iPhone 8 has completely slowed down. I don't know what happened with this phone. I guess we'll talk about it in another video, but that's a crazy thing for sure. Now let's go and hit on the cameras. Now the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus 12 megapixel sensors all around, single 12 megapixel wide angle lens on the iPhone 8. The iPhone 8 Plus has that 12 megapixel wide, then a 12 megapixel telephoto lens. So you have the ability of zooming in a lot on the iPhone 8 Plus, which I think is a really cool thing. The iPhone 8, on the other hand, it's a good camera, but the iPhone 8 Plus is definitely the winner. You can do 4K at 30 on both. No 1080p at 60 or 4K at 60 on the back as far as I remember. Or you do have 4K at 60 on the back, but no 4K at 60 or 1080p at 60 on the front. So that's pretty much it in a camera standpoint. Now to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you buy an iPhone 8 or should you buy an iPhone 8 Plus in 2021? Well, this is what I'll tell you. I think both these phones have a lot of capability, but if I had to pick up one, even if it's a little bit more expensive, the iPhone 8 Plus makes way more sense in my opinion. This is the phone you want to buy between these two. Now, it's still not perfect. It has a couple of issues here and there, but this is a really good phone still. It's one of the last home button iPhones Apple made besides the iPhone SE 2, and it has a lot going for it. It's a very good phone still, very few issues all around, but it doesn't mean it's perfect, and it doesn't mean the iPhone 8 isn't good in some areas too. Now, specifically on iOS 15, it looks like it was much slower than the iPhone 8 Plus, which is crazy. I don't even know why that happened, but you are getting a smaller phone, and it's a cheaper phone too. So some people may actually prefer that. Some people may actually want a smaller phone in some areas, and some people may want a phone that is cheaper. Maybe they don't have enough money to buy an iPhone 8 Plus. In that case, the iPhone 8 is a really good phone still, but I would recommend getting the Plus version. The 8 Plus is a much better phone than the iPhone 8, and you are going to be getting a much better experience from a phone like this rather than a phone like this. So in terms of that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.